State versus Rory, Gregory, 14-207, theft of property, battery, aggravated assault, other charges.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Let's see.
Judge, this for attorney status?
That's correct,
On these
sir.
new charges?
Yes, on theft, aggravated assault, several other
Well, I've
charges.
talked to Rory, Judge. He's not, have you talked to Gray since?
I haven't talked
He
to
has some
anybody.
money, but he's gonna have to get with Gray
Okay.
and talk about the terms and what it would take to hire him. I think he's filled out the public defender
He
worksheet.
has, and I approved him for that. I tell you what, I'll go ahead and appoint the public defender, but if he works out an arrangement to retain an attorney, of course, that's acceptable.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Could we discuss a bond reduction, sir?
Well, let me do some paperwork here, then we'll take a look at that. Okay. What would you like to say, sir?
Well, I was out on a $5,000 bond for Baxter County and a $5,000 or a OR bond in Boone County. And I wasn't trying to flee, sir. There was some mechanical issues on this last deal, and it's my understanding, the bond amounts to make sure I'll show back up for court. Is that correct?
Well, there's more than that.
Well,
Correct.
But I have roots here. My family's lived here for 200 years, and I've got a lot of medical problems, and I'm on disability. And I have an affidavit here that I was going to submit to the prosecutor, explaining how I come about possession of the four-wheeler, thing.
Okay, I don't think I'd do that if I were you. You need to do that through your attorney.
Okay, but I would be susceptible if Your Honor would do it, put me on an ankle monitor or something, stay at my mother's residence, 24 hours a day. After this last incident, I'm not very confident in my driving abilities. I'm actually about ready to surrender my driver's license because the left side was paralyzed in December when I had a stroke and heart surgery.
Okay.
And I should have people out here in the audience, I can't see because I don't have my glasses, that will help make sure I get back to court at any hearing or something.
Okay.
But I was out on bail and I wasn't fleeing from coming to court or nothing.
Okay.
And
There's 9 charges, and as an habitual offender, is an allegation. But at any rate, what's the state's position?
Your Honor, the state of Arkansas, as you know, one of the criteria for setting someone's bond is their propensity to commit a criminal act while out. And while Mr. Gregory was out on bond, we allege he committed several criminal acts. Judge, not only that, but if we're going to set this man's bond, I'd like a bond hearing because there is evidence that we recovered from this man's truck that appears to be that this man was trying to create a driver's license for himself from the state of Idaho, and we feel like he was fleeing. And if we're going to reduce his bond, let's not do it at this podium. We can have a hearing, and I think at the end of that hearing, you may raise his bond. But we feel like the bond is necessary in order to, one, keep him here, because once we arrested him, and I will remind the court that involved violence, that involved violence to an officer, that involved violence to vehicles, that involved the discharge of a firearm. And if someone wants to talk about that and say, that's not that big a deal, I was just out on bond, and, this was all a misunderstanding, let's have a bond hearing. But in addition to that, we have not only this man's criminal record, which is substantial, and I'm not talking about anything he's charged with, I'm talking about what he's already been convicted of. We have active reason to believe that this man was creating another identity for himself. And we have that we have the physical evidence of that, and I'd like a bond hearing before you do anything with his bond.
Very well. I'll set a bond hearing for September 18th, and the state can present any witnesses it wants, and you can too, sir. But if you're going to retain a lawyer, you need to do so rather quickly. But in the meantime, the public defender will represent you.
I just haven't been able to contact him.
Okay. Very well. Thank you. State versus Christie, Newcombe, 14-195, forgery in the second degree. Good morning.
Hi, Your
Let's
Honor.
see. Looks like we're here to see if we have any pretrial motions we need to hear.
Judge, we don't at this time. I'd like to speak with the state about possible resolution of this matter, but at this time, there's no action.
Okay. You may leave the file out.
That'd be great, Judge.
Okay. Very well. 14-199, State versus Ryan Lindsay. Residential burglary, theft of property.
You know, the docket actually shows this as pretrial, however, discovery is not complete. It's a
Okay,
rather new case. It's only about a month old. I'm getting discovery right now. We'll probably need a reappearance next time the court's here.
I set the pretrial for September 18th. You may be seated, sir. Thank you. Michael Pierce. 14-197, burglary, theft.
Your Honor, this matter is also set for pretrial. However, it's also probably less than 45 days old. We could have reappearance late September.
Pretrial hearing on September 18th.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. State versus Randy Rogers, 14-175, battery in the second degree.
Your Honor, Greg and I represent Mr. Rogers. It's kind of a new case. There's no steps to take today. He has new charges pending in Stone County, so we're in negotiations, trying to reach a disposition and all that if we can.
Okay. We'll leave it as scheduled, sir.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. 13-311, State versus Derek Holt. Possession of oxycodone, paraphernalia, marijuana, Xanax, firearms.
Your Honor, Mr. Holt is incarcerated on some misdemeanor charges and not anything from this court, so there's no issues of bond to address today. This is another case that is on your September trial docket. I would ask for a reappearance date of September the 18th. We're very close to a plea in this case, Your Honor, and I just need to get down to jail and be able to visit Mr. Holt if he's not able to bond out this afternoon.
Reappear on September 18th, 10 o'clock, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
State versus Matthew Williams, commercial burglary, theft, criminal trespass, 09204. I'll enter the plea of not true. Set the matter for hearing on September 25th, 10 o'clock.